Hello, hello, hello. Hello there, Mike Rabham here. We are answering question 21 of the top 29 questions that keep founders up at night. And question 21 is, what must every entrepreneur know that has a B2B SaaS startup? What should they know? Well, I've got four things that I think probably five things, but four or five things that I think every one of them should know. Now, lots of people are going to have very differing opinions on this one, so this is just my opinion, but I think that you're going to know, everyone's going to ask you, what's your CAC? What's your customer acquisition cost? CAC, you'll hear it all the time. What's your CAC? And then what's the value of a customer, right? You'll hear long-term value, lifetime value, whatever that is, whatever you get from a customer over the lifetime of having that customer, what is that number? It's a very important number because your CAC needs to be a small percentage of the LTV, and I say it needs to be 25%, probably 30 at the most, but 25% or lower to have a successful subscription-based business. So turnover. What is the turnover of your customer base? Is it, if you're turning all customers over and 100% in a year, that is not good. If you're turning over 2% in a year, that is awesome. So understanding what your turnover is super important, because it understands, again, the amount of acquisition you need to make your business to work. And then you also need to know in that, when you're in that turnover, is how you're losing customers. Like, you need to understand, one, if you're losing customers, let's say you're losing 25% a year, so every 4 years you're completely turning over. Well, why are you losing those 25%? Like, what are the reasons behind that? So understand that. That's really important. And then also is, how do you acquire the customer? Of course, the CAC, customer acquisition cost, you know that number, but how are you acquiring the customer? And are you using the best method to do that? So that is something that I think has been, I've seen again many times in my work, where that they just need to tweak the method. They may be using one type of funnel system, and maybe they could use a different type of funnel. There's lots of ways, as you may or may not know, about acquiring customers online. So really, it's understanding those things, understanding your CAC, understanding your long-term value of the customer, understanding your turnover and what that rate is, and then how are you acquiring customers? Like, well, those are the things that you really need to understand. And then last but not least is pricing. I mean, you got to understand how to price your product. And there is issues with high value or high prices means value to most humans. So you can't price your product too low, otherwise people don't see it as valuable. I mean, there's lots of things about pricing. So pricing in a SaaS startup should be done with definitely some research and testing some pricing structures, so you understand what to price your product correctly at. So that is super important. So there's my answers on question 21. I will be talking to you soon. Take care.